Rush! Tom!
We are here to talk about the legacy of the Road Warriors, the Legion of Doom, the greatest tag team in the history of wrestling. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing
Mike
fantastic, man. How you
Belcaster.
doing?
We gotta go with Mike Belcaster. Can't just call you Mike. It's been established. So, man, I've been going down a Road Warriors dive lately, just checking out their stuff. You know, the best tag team, as I said before, in the history of professional wrestling.
Easily, yeah.
You know, I grew up back in the 80s. That's when I was a kid. And, you know, as popular as Hogan was, the Road Warriors in wrestling were just as popular. They were on the cover of every magazine, you know, every wrestling's main event, Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Man, they were the team. They're the team that everybody still tries to live up to. And nobody's ever done it quite like the Road Warriors.
No.
So I sent Mike a link yesterday of my earliest Road Warriors memory from the AWA. Mike, tell them what you got to watch.
I watched Baron von Raschke and Curt Hennig team up against
Curt Hennig.
Very, very young, beautiful looking Curt Hennig going up against the Road Warriors. And like just first thoughts of that, of how big everybody was back then. And you know, you lose that after all these years of watching like what the modern day product is. But man, were these just four massive dudes beating the shit out of each other. And it was such a great match.
Yeah, I mean, how it ended was, you know, Hennig did the spot where he got his head caught in the top rope, and then the Road Warriors just beat the shit out of him while he was in there. They busted him open. He was bleeding.
Yeah, man. There was a lot of color. It looked great.
It was, you know, if you haven't checked it out, I'll post the link in the comments or in the description so you could check it out too. It's just, you know, the Road Warriors back then and through their whole career. But as a little kid, they were so like, wow, like they were greater than life, man. And their legacy, you know, they wrestled all over the world. They dominated wherever they went.
Absolutely, man.
Before they went to WWF at the time, Demolition was nothing but a carbon copy of, you know, WWE's version of the Road Warriors. So,
nowhere near as exciting either.
No, but I mean, Demolition was great for their own right. Like, you know, one of my, of course, nobody's the Road Warriors, but it was they were still a pretty awesome team,
dude.
Back in the day.
Look at that beautiful, toyetic look, man.
And that's the Mattel Elites. Is that the exact paint even on their faces? I'm trying to see. I have mine over there.
I believe so.
I think so. I believe so.
Man. Yeah.
But
I think everybody I knew when we were kids had the Road Warrior pads, you know.
Yeah.
The little foam ones that they used to sell, those were fantastic.
So the really cool thing is Road Warriors were from Chicago. You're from Chicago.
Yeah.
Tell me what it's like being from their hometown. Is it?
Oh, no matter what, every show we went to that they were on, you know, if they would get almost the biggest pop of the night, unless it was like headlined by Austin, you know, like something like that. They were always like just such huge fan favorites here. Fun tip, they actually used to work out at the gym at the YMCA that's like maybe 10 minutes from my house, so that's pretty awesome. But yeah, man, every time that you would catch that Road Warrior pop, and it was like one of the biggest things that you could experience as a wrestling fan. And like a lot of people don't live up to that pop, man. Their music would hit and everybody in that crowd lost their shit, and it was just the greatest, man.
And the thing I loved as a kid, and you know, they did a good job with their music with the Water Rush and WWE, but when they came out to Iron Man, man, I don't know if there was a greater entrance than seeing them come out in the original shoulder pads with the metal spikes, not the WWE toned down black plastic ones, which I understand why they did it, because it's a liability if somebody touches it and cuts themselves open. But then that image of them coming down to Iron Man and them just coming like, what a great intro. Like there's never been a tag team to have an intro even close to that. Never mind a singles wrestler. I mean, there's been some great ones.
Music, man. Licensed music really sells a great energy, man.
AEW has proven that again today, you know, with you know, Jungle Boy has it, and Somebody else has an AEW.
Orange Cassidy's got the Pixies, which is it
Orange
fits
Cassidy,
his
that's
vibes
right.
so well, man.
No, so buying the rights and having the rights to that music, it does do something extra. It really, really does.
Yeah.
And even back in the 80s, WWF guys, Junkyard Dog came out to. Do you know what Junkyard Dog came out to?
Oh, shit, not off the top of my head, but
Another one bites the dust.
Yes, that's great.
Mary Wynn and Mike Rotundo were born in the USA, which is
that's
kind of funny,
man.
Thinking about it when you listen to the words. It's not really a song celebrating the USA, but,
right?
But everybody thinks it is, and there were a bunch of others back in that day.
It's all about the emotion attached to the music, though. That's what really brings it together. So like you get Junkyard Dog coming out to Another One Bites the Dust, man. The people are going to be feeling it. The whole arena gets that vibration from the bass and from it's just the best way to do things, man. It really hypes up everything. And
even Hogan was Eye of the Tiger.
That's badass.
Back in the day, before Real American, there was Eye of the Tiger, and to me, it's sad when I go back to watch stuff on the network and you don't get to hear any of those sounds. Like even the Road Warriors, I was Googling trying to find videos of them coming out to Iron Man, and it's hard to find.
Yeah, it's a lost thing, man. Lost content. It just disappeared over time because they edited so much stuff. Same thing with ECW. Like when you go back and watch old ECW stuff on the network, like I don't want to see RVD coming out to One of a Kind on Heatwave '98. Like he used to come out to Pantera, and it was just like it filled up a huge vibe to it, man. And like all the ECW guys had great music. I think that's really what sold a lot of the talent over. Like Balls Mahoney coming out the Balls by AC/DC. It was just perfect and beautiful, man.
So what is your favorite run of the Road Warriors? What's your favorite time period?
Of me being alive, I really think like their early 90s was like my big thing. And like I know that they were kind of like tailing out a little bit towards like the mid 90s, getting to the late 90s. But those early 90s days, man, I remember going to the house shows, or live events that WWF would come to town with. And like every time you'd be loving them. They would just beat the living shit out of whoever they were fighting. It was the greatest.
And it's funny because if you look back at their run in WWE, it wasn't as long as it seemed.
No, I guess forever for me. Yeah.
I guess they had two runs. There were two separate little runs, and when they made a return. Another thing I went and watched last night, one of my more fun moments was the SummerSlam match at Wembley from '92. And they just versus Money Inc.
It's crazy.
And they come out on motorcycles, and this run they got Paul Ellering with them.
Yeah,
I always felt so lost. The first run when they didn't have Paul Ellering with them in the WWE, WWF. I never understood why. I mean, I take it Vince wasn't a big fan of his, because even a couple of years ago when they brought up the Authors of Pain, he was with them in NXT, and then all of a sudden he was gone. And he sent out a tweet at the time saying, "Hey, I have no problem traveling." He wanted the people to know it wasn't his decision because people were saying he didn't want to do the travel. And it wasn't that. And Paul Ellering is you think of the Road Warriors and you think of him.
Absolutely, man. He's a staple to the page. You can't have Animal Hawk without the staples holding it together, which is Paul Ellering, man. I think he was fantastic his whole entire career. Even with the Authors of Pain, he really brought something to the table, like a professionalism, like a legitness to the team. And every good team needs that kind of, manager, role that just throws shit down for you.
I know. It's so true. And even if you think back to the AWA Remcos, there was a Paul Ellering with the Road Warriors.
Yeah, hell yeah, there was.
And finally, we got our Mattel Paul Ellering. Built young and old. You have that figure, right? The build figure?
Absolutely. It took forever to hunt down because distribution here is never fun. So I finally got the pieces for it and like just slapped it together. I'm pumped with it, man. It's a great Paul Ellering figure, even with the little puppet.
It is. Rocco. And what is Rocco? What was Vince thinking? Man. Road Warriors didn't need a puppet coming out with them.
Talk about a 90s thing, like we're gonna have him come out with a puppet, damn it. Like
I mean, George Animal Steel at the end, he came out with, do you remember Mine?
Yeah,
the little stuffed animal. And wow, some of these teams, like whatever. There was Warco, and then there was the Road Warriors with Sonny, which
Yeah, I really didn't mind the LOD 2000 run. I thought that was really good. I think they did a really good job. It was just cut short, and then they brought in draws, and like it kind of like just took away from everything. Like really took the gas out of the whole thing. And not a knock on Draws, because Draws is a phenomenal performer. But like I really wish we would have got a great send off for the LOD back then.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, not a knock on him, but the Road Warriors didn't need another member. It was them, and that's it. Again, I guess if you remember back in NWA, I guess Dusty Rhodes a couple of times I put on the paint and joined them and did some fun stuff and
Dusty will always make it a good time.
Yeah, that's Dusty. Dusty could do anything. The
Absolutely.
guy, you talk about another great mind in wrestling. And part of the reason why NXT was so successful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I he left us too soon, and I always wonder what would have happened now with AEW with Cody over there, and Dusty's roots were so tied into NXT, but we'll never know. But
no, it would have been interesting to see them going head to head with each other with Dusty.
Or would he have left
NXT? Or maybe he would have left. But anybody that worked under Dusty has nothing but beautiful words to say about the man. He was always smart, super creative, knew how to sell, knew how to talk, and that's why some of these guys that are out there now are so good. Is because they got to learn from Dusty, like, put your best foot forward, speak from the heart, daddy, put your hand up to the screen and touch mine. You can't beat that, man.
No, I mean, it's so true. So, okay, so you sent me a match to watch with the Road Warriors. A match I had never seen before, not being the biggest WCW fan. But what a match. It was the Road Warriors versus the Steiners.
Yeah.
I guess that was their first match ever.
I want to say it was, because they did a few like Nitro shows afterwards and stuff like that. But I think that's the first like big meetup between both of them.
I mean, what a match that was.
Yeah, I wrote notes down on it. It was just like seeing how much intense ring work. Scott Steiner was taking these crazy ass leg drag bumps in the beginning and flipping around on his head. And then like there was so much beautiful back and forth in that match. What chemistry. And talk about big guys again. These guys are fucking massive, like 300 pounds. They're just big, brutal dudes just beating the living piss out of each other. Like, it translated so well. It was just an awesome short match.
I mean, for a short match, I was a little disappointed it was so short. And going in, when I hear them say 15-minute time limit, man, I could have watched them work that match for an hour.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was so much. It was so like intense, very back and forth, fast paced, beating the piss like out of each other, man. Like there was the Scott Steiner did a power slam off the second rope and almost fucking murdered the ball.
Yeah,
it was such a beautiful move, big man stuff. You don't get to see that nowadays between like that was almost like a ring full of Keith Lee type, big guys just beating the piss out of each other. I love it.
And I feel like Scott Steiner was ahead of his time, the way he moved for his size. You didn't see that a lot back then.
No, and
doing
the
Hurricanranas and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, God.
But what a match. So would you say that was the greatest match between the Road Warriors and the Steiners?
I want to say that if it's not the greatest, that's my favorite. Absolutely. The Doomsday Device at the end, not on the shoulders, picks him up like he's going to give him, a back body drop, and he just comes flying off the top rope and knocks him on his ass. It was perfect. It was like you've seen. Like it was great storytelling in the ring. Loved it, man.
Yeah, and you go back to the match from the AWA that we talked about a little bit ago. What about the Road Warriors being attacked by fans on their way out? And
there was a big thing. Footage. Bonus brawl at the end, and they were getting the shit thrown at them and everything, man. It was. I mean,
they were fending for themselves against the fans, and you could see, and that was on my Saturday morning TV back in the day.
Which is crazy. You had Hennig busted open. You had chair shots flying around the ring. You got Hennig stuck, getting choked between the ropes, and then at the end of it, they're getting booed out. They're getting shit thrown at them. It was a beautiful, just way to watch it back then, man. We would be spoiled if we got to see stuff like that these days.
You're right. You're right. And I feel like, you talk about the Road Warriors paint and man, if I feel like every other wrestler who's worn paint is trying to live up to what they established with that.
Yeah, theirs was so simple too, and it, like, but it really put them over. Got the job done, and it wasn't like it wasn't a whole mystique where they painted their whole face like a Sting or something like that. I think even Sting like kind of ripped off the Road Warriors with that,
Even Ultimate Warrior,
even Ultimate Warrior. It's crazy though. Look at the mark they put on the map with that. Just alone the face paint. Not screw all the wrestling and everything, but the face paint really
their look
went over, man. Yeah.
They had to look. They were next generation, way before their time.
Yeah.
And like we said before, toyetic as fuck.
Yeah.
Because one of the first figures ever was the AWA Remcos, and what a set of figures! What a set of figures! I got a picture of them right here. Let me.
Those are the best. Love the Remco figures, man.
I mean, they're amazing, and if you don't have them, and you're a wrestling figure collector, it's a holy grail. Especially like I'm looking at maybe trying to get them mint on card.
Nice. Yeah.
I feel like I need. Oh, is it? There we go. Yeah. Is it on the screen?
They're beautiful looking, man. For what they were for the time, like those are very
Look already.
Yeah. Look at those heads. It's awesome, man. You lose like that kind of momentum from things. Like even going throughout the years, like I feel like toys were amazing and then kind of dipped down, and then they got better and better and better as it's going on into where we are now. Like, but these are stand-up Road Warrior action figures, man.
Yeah, I mean they stand up. The scans and the sculpts on the face stand up to just about anything today.
Yeah, no, you could visibly tell it's Animal and Hawk. Like without second glassing, you're like, oh shit, there they are.
and you look back at some of the other Remcos, and it's not as clear cut like these two are.
Yeah,
and then you talk about all the figures they've had. Jax created some awesome Road Warrior figures, but then you get the two elite sets of Mattel.
Yeah,
are the defining Road Warriors figures for me. You got the ones with the black shoulder pads, which is the NWA, AWA classic Road Warriors, and then you get the red shoulder pads, which is the WWE Legion of Doom, and just they're both awesome sets of figures. I'm so glad to have them both, and you could just never have enough. What is your favorite Road Warrior figures?
I really like the red and black. Both of the Mattel releases are fantastic. The Road Warrior, the Legion of Doom 2000 figures, though, that Jax put out, they were the bone crunching action figure ones. They came with the motorcycle helmets, and they had the silver pads. And, I think Animal was in shorts or Hawk was in shorts, and those were badass. Like, I just picked up a fresh set of those, like, not too long ago. I love how good they look. And I was a big fan. I grew up with the bone crunchers, like they were my, Hasbros. So those were my go-tos when I was, like, really, really into it. And I think those, like, they capture the look of my era's, wrestling. So it's perfect, pair to have. But the Mattel has knocked it out of the park with theirs, and I don't think there's a company that could have done it better. I think Mattel really nailed the deco on it. The body sizes, they both look like monsters. Their arms are huge, so that they really kicked ass with the way they, final product got it out.
Yeah. And you talk about, I've always said probably the most iconic thing, if you're in a stadium when the glass broke and Stone Cold Steve Austin came out. But I think the Water Rush is right up there, behind that.
No, absolutely.
When that music came out, and that was for their WWE run. But you talk about true legends. You talk about other teams. I remember laughing when the Ascension first made it to the main roster.
Yeah.
And the first thing they mocked the Road Warriors, and I'm like, you guys just did something. You just ended it before you even got started, because you just don't do that. You just and then, again, if you looked at them, who did that remind you of? They had the face paint. Yep. They were trying to be badass. It's just another team trying to be the Road Warriors, and often duplicated but never imitated.
No, absolutely. I really can't think of a better tag team to represent tag team wrestling. I would definitely throw down it if it wasn't the the Animal and Hawk, I would definitely be going with like the Steiners. Like, you know, all these guys are top tier wrestlers, but Animal and Hawk like really established the dominance of big tag team guys.
And the thing that I love and the thing that's amazing to me, I can't really think of another tag team that never broke up at some point.
Yeah,
and they made the whole run as a tag team. Like you can, and I always say, like, it's in sports, you can argue, you can have arguments. Who's the best, pitcher of all time in baseball? Who's the best wide receiver? But there's certain things I feel in wrestling, you just can't even argue that there's a team better than the Road Warriors or even as good because of the longevity, because of everywhere they went and everything that they did. Do you remember the scaffold matches? Did you ever see?
Hell yeah! No, I'm a big fan of listening to Jim Cornette before I go to sleep, like, because it's like listening to lullabies. And I know a lot of people don't, preferably love Jim Cornette or they hate Jim Cornette, but no matter what, he's a beautiful storyteller, and his stories are fucking out of this world, right? So every time he talks about the scaffold matches, like I'm tuning in like hardcore. But yeah, the scaffold matches, like that was crazy back in the day, right? I loved when the Road Warriors were in it. I loved even like when ECW was doing it. Anybody that could do a scaffold match, like, give me that shit. It was entertaining. You were sitting there watching, like, what the hell's gonna happen? This is insane. The Road Warrior scaffold was like super, super high above the ring. It wasn't like 10, 20 feet like a steel cage. It was like 30 feet up there, and you were scared shitless for them. Those were beautiful.
But again, the things that made the Road Warriors great, man, they had no fear going up there. They didn't even
none at all.
They never showed fear. They never showed any vulnerability. They were just these monsters among men. They were just and the power slam of Animal. Who would you say the Road Warriors' greatest rival is?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I don't know, man. They had a lot of good work in WCW, and I really think like the birth of the Steiner brothers, that they weren't necessarily the greatest rival in programs, but whenever they got into the ring together, it was a legit brawl, and you just lose your shit because you got the athleticism on both sides, all big guys just throwing each other. Like, who's gonna belly to belly Road Warrior, Hawk, Animal? Like, it's crazy. You didn't see that too much, and then when it happened, you're like, holy shit. So I'm definitely going to throw them down on my card as like one of the better of the programs I have seen with the Road Warriors throughout my time. Great stuff, absolutely great stuff.
I mean, if you're talking about history, I guess, maybe, is it Rock and Roll Express?
Yeah, them too. Fantastic tag. Absolutely. Love Rock and Roll Express.
And then you think I mean, I wouldn't say one of their greatest rivalries wasn't Demolition, but I remember Road Warriors came into WWE. They had that, their little run together, and then Demolition was over.
Yeah. That's what happens. Don't mess with the Road Warrior.
It's so true. And you talk about another carbon copy of the Road Warriors, the Powers of Pain.
Yeah, absolutely. The Powers of Pain.
The paint face again, and just big menacing guys. And I believe they fought in WWE too. Aren't they still there?
Yeah,
at the time when they came in.
I want to say that they were. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I've got so much wrestling up here. You kind of
right.
Correct us if we're wrong,
absolutely, but man, you're right.
But I mean, and it's you think about their run, and then you see I was shocked when I realized Hawk was only 46 when he passed.
Yeah, shame.
Way too soon. And I remember the Dudleys on Raw that night. I think it was the night after he passed, or maybe it was even the same day he passed. Just the beautiful. I'm getting choked up just thinking about it.
Yeah.
How much you love wrestling. What a beautiful tribute they did, and they, they did the Doomsday Device to end the match, and they left the titles just out on a ramp.
Yeah.
And it's, in my opinion, the Dudley Boys might be the second greatest tag team of all time.
I could not argue that. I love the Dudleys. I've been following the Dudleys since like early 96, 97. ECW used to be on here on a public access channel. And it was on at like 2:30 in the morning on a Saturday night. Perfect time because I was out of school. You know, I got to sleep in Sunday, so I could stay up super late on Saturday and just catch this magic that they made. And Bubba and Devon are just like top tier talents. You know, in and out of the ring, great guys, but holy shit that they put out great matches with whoever they were in the ring with.
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
they did great. They made Mae Young a thing again, you know, after all these years. Like, holy shit.
I was at that Monday Night Raw when they jumped off the stage with her.
That's awesome.
And I was sitting in this section right next to where it happened.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And I just remember sitting there like, what the hell just happened? They just put the exactly. But yeah, so the Road Warriors, like the Dudleys, second greatest tag team. Another team, you know, Bubba Ray went on and had his own little singles run, but still known for the Dudley Boys, and they did it all over the place too. So, you know, and WWE did their countdown of the greatest WWE tag teams. We did this on the debate show, talking about it. I don't know if that was the one that's coming out this week or the one that just came out. It all just blends together when I'm doing so much of this. I chose that was the one we did that's coming out Monday. So a little sneak peek. I chose Dudley Boys as the greatest WWE tag team of all time. I would have loved to chosen the Road Warriors, but their run there just wasn't as long as the Dudleys.
No, and, I can totally understand that. I really think, like, when you're thinking Legion of Doom, I think they really did their work before they got to WWF. Like, a lot of stuff was here. Like, WCW used to run the UIC Pavilion here way back in the day. I don't even think it's called that anymore, but, you know, Chicago people can't shake our stadium names. But yeah, man.
I think of the Rosemont Horizon when you say Chicago. So.
Me too, man. Always. Like, every time Stone Cold talks about Chicago, man, oh, I love the Horizon, baby. And you're like, hell yeah. Like you just don't forget the initial memories. Like, I remember going to the Rosemont Horizon on almost like a monthly basis for different shows and different things. Like, they have hockey there and all that stuff. I grow up, I'm probably like 20-minute drive from the Horizon. So it's always going to be the Horizon for me.
So let me ask you this question. You know, we know whenever there's wrestling in Chicago, the crowd is lit. It's always special when it's there. Do you think that ties in with the Road Warriors being from Chicago?
I absolutely think that they established, you know, a rowdiness from our hometown. And like, I think that they absolutely were one of the first homegrown talents to get that kind of ovation, that kind of crazy crowd. You didn't see it anywhere else, you know, like even to this day, it's still hard to match the energy. I'm so shocked WWE hasn't came here for like a Royal Rumble with how much energy Chicago's got. Like, disappointed as a fan, but like, we would kill a Royal Rumble, I think, is being in the audience, man.
I mean, listen, they kill Raws and SmackDowns when they're there just for that.
Yeah, so. No, last Raw I went to, it was, you know, it was fun. I'm a little out of touch with it at the time. It's still, you know, but that was in like 2018. And it was still a decent show. You know, probably not for you. He was all jacked up to go. It was his first time going to wrestling, you know. So it was fun. But like, I went to a house show before that. That was the last one. That was in like 2015. And the house show was amazing. Like, it was like Miro was there. You know, we had Stardust fighting with Goldust still. And like, it was just fun. The crowd's always just, you know, fun banter. We love screwing with the talent. Like, it was pretty close. So like, Cody did this thing where he was like, you know, thrusting his hips and it's like, that's not PG, Cody. You know, the whole crowd turned around. I was like, damn, man, that was a good one. I love a good rowdy crowd, man.
And it's you know, I wonder, and this is, you never know with Vince, if part of the reason they don't run a big show there is he doesn't want CM Punk chants during a pay-per-view.
Yeah, so, no, like, think about it. The last Mania they had here was WrestleMania 22. Like, and that, like, you're talking Chicago is like a big town for the kind of stuff. Even if you're running it in an outdoor venue, you know, like, you see it all the time. They put heaters out and stuff. I never understood the hate towards doing the bigger shows here, like not even a SummerSlam or anything like that. I would love for them to pop in through here with a Royal Rumble eventually, but I don't see it ever happening.
I never say never. I would hope so. You know,
yeah.
And this is the thing, the difference. Well, getting a little off topic here just for a second, but the thing is, I feel this is what Triple H gets and Vince doesn't. Like, and that's the difference between NXT and WWE. NXT still has the wrestlers feeling like wrestlers, and they're badasses and they're scary. And Vince just doesn't let that happen. I don't know if it's the stocks and the being public company, and NXT could fly under the radar a little more because, you know, it's not the main rosters.
Yeah.
But
it's a shame.
So any other Road Warrior thoughts in closing?
It's just from those 2 matches we watched, like I seen so much shit, like awesome power slams, just, you know, stiff punches, the stiffest punches. Curt Hennig, oh my goodness, a young babyface Curt Hennig getting thrown into the turnbuckle chest first, almost takes the whole ring out, man. Like they were such a powerful, awesome collective team. They defined tag team wrestling for many generations, actually, you know, like, so they weren't just, it wasn't a short piss in the wind. They kicked mad ass. They brought it every time they came out, and the fans, I think, felt that and respected them more because of it. So that's, if you want to know why the Road Warrior pop was such a big thing, it's because they brought it every time to the ring. They brought that energy, the rush, you know.
Yeah, I'll tell you one more quick story. I grew up on Staten Island, as I've said before, and my neighbor was a teacher in Brooklyn, New York. And you'll probably recognize this name when I say it. Great wrestling photographer by the name of George Napolitano.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
His sons were in my neighbor's class and got us Road Warrior autographs because they would be over his house. And she knew, and the kids knew that my neighbor's sons liked wrestling. So, you know, got us some autograph magazines back in the day. And I wish I knew where they were. But
yeah, oh, that's awesome, man. But I don't want to talk about the years of lost autographs and memorabilia that have disappeared out of my life. But I saddest moments is when you lose something so cherished like that.
Yeah, it's so true. So I'm gonna put the link down here so you could watch the AWA match that we were talking about, the Road Warriors versus a young Curt Hennig and Baron von Raschke. It's an amazing match. And then tell them the match you picked that they should go watch.
Yeah, so it was Steiner's versus LOD, Starrcade 1989. I think I found it, just a quick Google search for it. We'll pop it right up. It was a Facebook video, I believe. But if not, I'm sure it's on YouTube. Or
it's on the WWE network. I did find it on the network.
It's on the network, damn it. And it probably looks a lot better than it did on the computer.
Yeah.
So go check that out, because both matches were fantastic. But that energy between the Steiners and the Road Warriors is unmatched, man.
Let us know in the comments your favorite Road Warrior memories, your favorite moment. We'd love to read it. We'll respond to it. Let us know. This is what we love as wrestling. Do you think the Road Warriors are the greatest tag team?
Yeah,
you know, like I said, they are. You think of them, man, they were ahead of their time, man. They were ahead of their time. Thank you for joining us. Mike, plug yourself again in case the people haven't been listening, where they can find you.
If you don't know, you need to know. I'm on the Instagram and Twitter at Mike Belcaster. Follow Pyramid Wrestling for all your awesome action figure podcasting goodness. That's where you can get me, man.
And follow me, Twitter and Instagram, TheOGFigKid, the Turnbuckle Tavern podcast. On Monday, we have the debate show. Wednesdays, we have my show, Sessions. And on Thursdays, the flagship show, the Turnbuckle Tavern, with the dynamic AEW review that you're going to get a review that you're not going to get anywhere else. Make sure you're following us on the YouTube channel. Set your notifications so you know when we go live and there's new content. We're coming at you hard and heavy lately. Thank you for joining us, guys. We will see you soon.